and provide your name and media affiliation at that time. Now joining us are members of the North Carolina Tar Heels, head coach Scott Forbes, and student athletes Jason DeCaro and Jake Schaffner. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach and then open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Hope everybody's well. Congrats to Oklahoma. They played really well, I thought, in all phases. That's why they came out on top. The great thing about baseball when you're playing a weekend series is you move on quickly. That's what our team will do. They just beat us today. I thought Jason was aggressive. I thought he had really good stuff. In their big inning, they did it all with 2 outs. And again, they got some big hits. We weren't able to get those big hits. Loved the way our guys competed. Loved the way they carried themselves. But, you know, I believe you give credit where credit's due. And I thought Oklahoma played a pretty complete game. And when they took the lead, they applied some more pressure. I was really proud of Chewy for going in there and never pitching here and keeping us in the game, giving us a chance to come back. We could just never piece it together and make that run that we generally do. So we'll flush that quickly like we have been doing all year, and we'll wake up and be excited to play tomorrow.
Open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Monty Taylor, Just Baseball. Jake, offensively, it seemed like you were really seeing the ball pretty well from the pitcher, regardless of which of the 3 pitchers it was. What was working for you so well in the box that wasn't necessarily working for everybody else after the first inning?
I think that just sticking to our approach that Coach Weirs and Coach Jackson gave us, you know, credit to their pitchers. They pitched a pretty good game. But, again, I thought we put some good swings on balls. You know, it just didn't fall, didn't go our way today, but we'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball for you. Jason, when you think back on, you know, what went wrong for you today, was it anything different from the last couple of weeks as far as the feel for the stuff? I mean, maybe the change-up off a little bit or fastball command. What stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think they just really punished the mistakes. Feel like for the most part, made some pitches, and then whenever I did leave a ball over the plate, especially with 2 strikes, they capitalized, and credit to them for that.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7. Question for Jake and Jason. Oklahoma's base running today was really good. 5 stolen bases as well, along with just the aggressive base running. Was that something that you guys kind of expected, or did it come as a little bit of a surprise?
Yeah, for sure. We knew that they like to steal bases. They're aggressive on the base pass. And, yeah, we kind of knew they were going to try and steal some bags. And we'll be ready to get them after tomorrow.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Okay. Jake, Jason, thank you guys for your time. Now going to open it up to questions for Coach. Start right up front.
Hey, Scott. Noah Weisskopf with Tar Heel 24/7. What do you think is the biggest key for you at the bottom of your order to sort of get going here? I know not the day that they wanted to, and then also the decision to go with Rom Kellis over Macon there in the 6th.
Yeah, you know, it's a hot and cold game. And, again, I thought they threw the ball well. I thought our guys looked calm in the box. I thought they had some good at-bats. I thought Rom hit 2 balls really, really hard, didn't have much to show for it. You get to this point, too, you know, it's all about positivity. You know, our guys are competing their tails off, and the great equalizer in this game is the guy on the mound, and they equalize us there at the bottom. We've got a lot of confidence in the bottom. I feel like the bottom will do a good job tomorrow. What was your other question? I apologize.
The Macon for
Yeah, I just felt like he'd been struggling a little bit, wanted to get a new look in there, and Rom had great BP, so popped him in there.
Haskell, Inside Carolina. Scott, obviously it's been well documented up to this point, you know, Oklahoma's recent power surge in postseason play. When it comes to, you know, game planning for them at the plate, what challenges does, you know, such a hot team present?
A lot. You saw that today. I thought Jason was good, and now the video will tell me how good he was as far as how bad his mistakes were. I think it's pretty plain and simple. When a team is feeling that good, you can't make many mistakes because they're going to make you pay for it. But, you know, he had 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. We didn't give him free passes today. We did strike him out, but they made us pay for those mistakes, and they got big hits in big situations, and that's how you win games. That's how they're here. But I also know that our guy tomorrow, Ryan Lynch, could equalize that in a heartbeat, and I feel good about putting him out there.
Tommy Ashley, Inside Carolina. Coach Forbes, you guys have been solid in the field all season pretty much, and there was some miscommunication out there. Obviously, Carter made the great catch. Just Were there nerves? What was going on out there, in your opinion?
No, I think that was a heck of a play by Carter French. You know, I feel like that was the old Bermuda Triangle right there. That ball just dropped. Everybody's going as hard as they can at it. I think 3 people caught it at the same time. I'm just very thankful that everybody got up from it because it was a pretty good collision, knocked the breath out of Jake. But I asked them when they came in, it was definitely not nerves with our guys. They were getting after it. I was impressed, honestly, how they jumped on us like that, and we came right back. Obviously, we gave up that 4-run inning, but you know, that was just a tough play to make, and they all caught it at the same time.
Michael Code, WCHL, ChapelBoro.com. Scott, I know every series is different, every team is different, but are you going to draw on the experience from USC in the Super Regional or the Boston College Series or the Clemson Series where you dropped game 1 and came back to win the next 2?
Yeah, of course. I've already done that. And it's a weekend series. I just talked to them. I said, you got to forget this one just like we forget all of them. Win or losses, that's being process-oriented. Don't let outcomes be distractions. You know, I told them before, you know, you're playing a weekend series and we're trying to do what we've done really well and win the series. Unfortunately, we lost game 1, you know, and that's a stinker. But again, you gotta win 2. And we were in a really tough spot against a really good Southern Cal team, and we found a way. So, you know, I have a lot of comments in these guys, and we'll go about our business the same way we've been doing it all year.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7. Coach, you began the game off with 4 straight hits and then 3 hits the rest of the 8 innings. What kind of adjustments did you see out of Rager and the rest of the staff?
You know, I thought he started he's got a good arm, obviously, but early on he couldn't land that breaker very much, and he couldn't throw his changeup for a strike. He started throwing those, especially in some big 3-2 counts. You know, the team a lot of times wins those 3-2 counts, ends up winning the game offensively. And it wasn't like it was a really electric pitch, but he did enough to get you off the fastball. I felt like that was a good adjustment by his part, and him being able to land that, you know, we had to adjust and be able to fight 2 pitches instead of 1.
Ryan McGee, ESPN. Coach, a lot of your job is sports psychologist, and you said they received your message well in the locker room. Do you spend the evening tonight and tomorrow just checking in on everybody, or do you think they're ready for this?
Absolutely not. This team's come too far. I trust them. You know, we've believed in what we've believed in all year. And I'm going to tell them tonight, you know, we did it all year. So when we get back, we'll shower, we'll turn in our loops, we'll have a post-game meal. And I want them to spend time with their families. We'll meet right before we go to bed, but I'm not going to go in there and try to pump them up. I don't need to do that with this team. I'll remind them, man, go to bed and forget about it. Either way, if you win, you got to forget about it, because sometimes it can be even harder to get that second one when you win the first one, because you know what you're going to get from the team that lost that first one. So we'll just keep doing exactly what we've been doing all year, and I'll trust that process, and I'll trust our players.
Got John Hoover, Sooners on SI. Something that Rob Vaughn at Alabama said last Saturday. Said they wanted to get. He wished they could have got Rager in more pitches out of the stretch. Is that a scouting report? He said the quote is his stuff wasn't quite as dangerous coming out of the stretch.
Yeah.
Is that the scouting report on him? Is that kind of what unfolded in the first half? Or the
Yeah,
first inning?
yeah. I mean, you want to try to get a pitcher uncomfortable as much as you can. And when you have to move a guy from the windup to the stretch, that means you're applying pressure and you have runners on base. So obviously that was one of our big goals, to find a way. But that's most all pitchers. We challenge our pitchers to be just as good out of the stretch as you are the windup, because you usually have to make your most meaningful pitches out of the stretch. But for sure, that's what we were trying to do, scratch and claw. And, you know, we couldn't get that leadoff hitter on a ton. And again, they did. So that's when you can apply that pressure.
We're going to take 2 more questions for Coach.
With R.L. Bynum, Tar Heel Tribune, with Chewy and Padgett going, will that give you the ability to bring in Globe for length out of the pen tomorrow?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's all hands on deck. Even though it's a weekend series, we did it at Clemson. You know, we were tied and we went for it, and obviously we have no choice but to go for it tomorrow. So everybody's going to be well rested. Lynch will get us going, and we'll go from there. But he will be ready to pitch.
Last question for Coach.
Grace Nugent, Inside Carolina. You talk about making big pitches. Jason got into 11 0-2, 1-2 counts, didn't necessarily go his way. What does that say to the need to make big pitches and then Oklahoma's 2-strike approach?
Yeah, I think, I'm going to have to watch, and I'll do that. I'll watch some of his pitches, and Coach Gaines will do the same thing. Again, I thought he looked really, really good, and they're hot, and he made some off-speed mistakes, and they made him pay for it. You always want to, do a good job of executing those two-strike pitches. Their approach is to get an A swing off. That's clear. They're not spreading way out, just trying to move the baseball. That's evident by some of the strikeouts. They're not afraid to strike out, and if you put that ball where you want to with 2 strikes, you have a better chance to get a strikeout and prevent that damage.
That marks all the time we have.